Hey guys, Common Sense Outdoorsman. I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and are getting ready to have the same for the new year. Um, I think I'm going to do a little series here on axes and big knives, and that's not to say I'm not going to take the side either way. I think I've kind of let that out in the past, what I use the most. But this isn't a series to try to steer you or convince you either way or of anything. Really, you have to make up your own mind. And quite honestly, they're two different tools. An axe will do different things than a knife will do. Can they cross over a little bit? Yes, they can. And that's basically what I want to talk about. What are some instances where you may want to use one or the other, or where one may do better than the other, and the different aspects of versatility and stuff like that. Um, I'll tell you right off the bat, I prefer in what I do in the woods, I prefer and will usually carry a large knife if I need to do larger tasks. Okay. I don't say I would never carry an axe or I don't ever carry an axe. It's just that for what I do, a large knife for me is more versatile. But, and I don't know, this may be two-part or a three-part series, I'm not sure. And it's not going to be a demonstration on how to use an axe properly. We'll talk about it a little bit. I'm not an expert at anything. I know what works for me, and I think I can give you some insight and a few tips and a few, talk about my experiences with them and what has worked for me. And my goal is just to be helpful to you, and not hey, do I get the axe or do I get the big knife? No, I think you should have both, and a saw and a belt knife and a small knife and a folding knife and hunting knives and different things. And then it's about choosing what's going to be right for you when you go out doing different things. So yeah, I think you should all have some axes and some big knives and small knives and everything. So it's not about that. It's not about you have to choose one or the other, but hopefully this information will be helpful when you need to choose. Hey, I'm going out on this kind of trip. What do I want to take? Do I want to take my hatchet? Do I want to take my big knife? So on and so forth. I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both. So what I have here, I can't find my hatchets right now as usual. We move stuff from vehicle to vehicle, from RV to RV, from cabin to RV, and we're constantly moving stuff around. I did find my Cold Steel Trail Boss axe, and I'm just going to use my large knife of choice, which is my Condor Hudson Bay knife, as an example. And then I have some other things for different examples for what I want to talk about. But this Trail Boss axe, I really, really like this axe. And this is similar to I guess what you would call maybe a woods axe or a boy's axe type of thing. That's about what the size of this is. This is a Helco sheath that I bought separately on Amazon for this axe. Helco also makes a nice German axes. Okay, so this to me is about the largest axe I would carry if I'm on foot in the woods for whatever reason. And I'm going to carry an axe like this if I plan on making bigger shelters, or I need bigger firewood, or I'm going to process bigger firewood for whatever reason. Then I would think about carrying this axe. Now this is about a 23-inch axe, long axe. It's a 4-inch, 4.5-inch blade, and the head is weighs close to 2 pounds. I put this paracord handle guard on there in case I overstrike. But I would only carry an axe like this if I was purposely going to build a large shelter, or if I knew I was going to chop sizable trees down or whatever. This is very good for that, and this axe will split fairly large firewood if you need to very easily. It's just one strike and it splits, and it is very, very good for that. But typically when I'm out, I don't need to do those type of tasks. So this axe, I'm not gonna, altogether this is about 3 pounds, okay? And if I don't need to carry that weight, I'm not gonna carry it, okay? And hence the reason for the big knife, okay? And we'll go over some things, and we'll do some stuff with these tools. I also have 2 small hatchets, cheap hardware store axes, hatchets. I can't find them right now to show you, but I'll find them and dig those up. But most of the stuff that I'm going to do, and there are advantages and some versatility to the big knife, and I'll just choose to take the big knife. Now this one weighs, it's just under a pound. Okay, I've got some extra stuff on the handle, but it weighs about a pound. The blade is about 8.5 inches overall. It's just over 13 inches, and I think for the big knife category to do the proper big knife stuff, you want to get over 12 inches overall, and probably, somewhere at least close to an 8-inch blade. You can go up to a 10, maybe an 11-inch blade, and you can do it differently. You can do it with machetes, thinner blades, longer machetes, and stuff like that. It just depends on what your use is going to be. But I just find, and you saw in the little beginning of the video, that the axe chopped a much larger piece of firewood very easily, and this didn't even make it through a smaller piece of firewood. And that's by design. This is a 3/16 inch blade. It's not meant to chop and split like this thing is. I mean, this is a thicker beast, and this is going to chop firewood much better and faster and easier. And if that's what one of your main goals is, if you're going to go out and chop big firewood, yes, take an axe. Now, there are axes smaller, like the Gransfors Brooks small woods axe, I think they call it. It has a finer blade, a thinner edge area, and you can use it for different things, and people like to do that. You can take an axe like that, or even a smaller axe, and choke up on it, and you can make feather sticks. You can do some knife work with that kind of thing, but it'll still chop fine and take down small trees and chop firewood and everything. But the more axe like your axe is, the less well it's going to do as a knife, and vice versa. And it's sometimes when the axe is meant to be an axe and a knife is meant to be an axe, it's a little difficult to press it into the other usage. But look at this knife here. This is just a small cheapo bushcraft knife, but it's a poor knife because it was made for this 4-inch knife with such a thick stock that's over 3/16 thick, coming closer to 1/4 of an inch. And because of that, the blade, the edge and the grind there is so wide, it's kind of concave. And I've been working on it. I'm going to take it down a little bit. But when you try to press a knife and design it as more of a pry bar type of maybe a wood splitting tool, then it's going to do poorly as a knife. But I want my knife to be able to do knife stuff first. So this one, I'll be honest with you, is a poor knife, because it's just too thick and the edge is too thick. It splits wood great, but I would want it to do knife stuff first. But when you try to press a knife into axe work, it has some problems, okay? And I think it would be the same if you take an axe and you're trying to press it into predominantly knife work, you're going to have some problems and issues. So, um, other this is a cheap axe. Okay, I think they're over $40. When I got this, I paid like $20 for this. I've had this Cold Steel Trail Boss for years. Now I believe it's closer to 50, and this is 1055 steel, which seems to be fine. And mine is made very well. I've never had a problem with it. I think for a cheapo axe, it's a great axe, but it's not a Gransfors Brooks. It's not a Wetterlings. It's not a Hultafors. Okay, it's not a console tool. There's a lot better axes and woods axes that are like large hatchets and will chop up a tree and buck up your firewood, and it'll do a lot of your knife tasks, and it's a really good steel, and it's tempered well and everything. So that is out there. I want to say that, you know, the tool you use for what you want to do, it's really about physics and geometry first, way before the type of steel and sometimes even the heat treat. But, you know, it's just physics that this axe is going to chop firewood better than this knife. Okay, so it's just physics. It's just physics that this knife, which is 1070 steel, is going to make better feathers and is going to do knife tasks and some cutting tasks better than a larger axe. Okay, so that's what it's about. What you're doing in the woods when you go out and the tool you take at the time is up to you. It's your choice. I'm not saying which is better, but when we go over some usage of these tools, we'll talk about those things. Now, I've talked about this before in other videos. What makes a big knife so good is its versatility, and it's lightweight. It's just, to me, it's easier to carry. Look, it gives you such a great leather sheath for this Condor Hudson Bay knife. It goes on your belt. It's very easy to carry and versatile. And part of the versatility of this is that you're not necessarily going to have to chop down a bunch of trees, because you're going to have another tool. Even if you're carrying an axe, you're going to have another tool. And a wonderful tool to have is a saw. Okay, this is my Corona razor tooth 7-inch saw. Wonderful saw. They just had, Amazon just had, what do they call it? Is it their blitz sale, or gosh, I can't remember the term they use, but it's a time sale, and they had these for 10, and they had the 10-inch saw for $16. So I got another 7-inch and I got the 10-inch because why not? I'll do a test. This one I've had for a few years. I've used the crap out of it. It still cuts really good, really fast. This is a great saw. And in conjunction with the big knife, you have a lot of capabilities, and you still don't have a lot of weight. So I abused this saw a little bit. It did hit the dirt. You want to try to keep it out of the dirt to preserve its sharpness and cutting ability. But when I get the new one, I'll do I'll compare this older used one with the new one. See how much more faster the newer one cuts than this used one that's seen some abuse. But this still cuts great. But anyways, to add to the versatility of having this knife that's already versatile, you add a saw that doesn't weigh a lot, and you have a nice package that still weighs a lot less than this, that'll give you a lot of capability. And that's what I enjoy using. That's what I enjoy doing. You can add other saws. This is a hardware store. I don't remember if this was Ace or True Value. That's a 10-inch folding saw. This is a great saw. Does wonderful work. One of my favorite saws, I think you've seen this before, is the Fiskars 13-inch pruning saw. This thing cuts incredibly well. Some of the Fiskars saws actually suck. This one, now it's been years since I've bought one. I've got about 4 or 5 of these. But this thing, if you're going to go out to cut bigger stuff and you want something that's easy to work with, lightweight, cuts super fast, I definitely recommend this Fiskars 13-inch saw. I think now they go for about 25. Years ago, I've got them on sale for like 13, stuff like that. But because of inflation and what's going on in the world, and especially our country, everything is going up and up. But this is a fantastic saw. It's easy to carry. I just use the guard, that little cheapo plastic thing with it, to protect the blade. You can throw that in a pack, carry it however you want. It doesn't weigh, matter of fact, it might weigh less than this Corona 7-inch folding saw. This thing is whisper light, great saw, highly recommend it, but it makes a great package either with an axe or a bigger knife, okay? So, and then an axe this size, you know, a little bit different from a 1.25-pound hatchet. This to me, you know, I could put an edge on that to where I could do some nice stuff with it and feather sticks and stuff like that. But for this size of an axe, 23 inches, I want to use this for chopping wood, splitting firewood, and taking down, you know, small trees. And so I'm going to leave an axe edge on this. That's just the way I'm going to use it. If you have a smaller hatchet, like a 1.25-pound head hatchet, and little easier to work with like a knife, you got less handle in the way, it's less awkward, you can put a nice fine edge on there and you can do some nice stuff with it if you prefer. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get into that, and we'll have part 2 coming up here soon, and we'll start using this stuff. I'll find my hatchets, and we'll do some different things. We'll do some tree chopping, some wood splitting, we'll do some delimbing of trees, and even of limbs. Say if you want to make a shelter and you needed some pine boughs or something like that. That's when a knife like this really shines. It's a lot easier aim on a blade this big when you're delimbing something like that, and it goes really fast. I enjoy doing that. I think this big knife is, for me, is a little bit better than an axe, or I wouldn't use an axe for that, probably more of a smaller hatchet size. You're gonna get more limbs with the knife, 8.5-inch knife like this. Okay, so we're gonna talk about and show different things like that, and this is for you guys who may be new to this stuff and you're wondering, hey, what should I use, what can I use, what's good to use in different situations. And so hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. Common Sense Outdoorsman. Have a great new year. We'll see you next time.